episode 2, and I want to talk about the dreaded Connie Buzz that you probably have read about if you've read anything about the concourse, and some other general issues about the motorcycle. I wish I could report that the Connie Buzz is all a myth, but unfortunately it's not. The motorcycle does send a lot of vibrations through the frame and up to the handlebars, and at highway speeds it definitely buzzes the handlebar, and your hand does go numb after a while of riding. But I don't want to make it sound too bad. It's not something that bothers me to the degree that I dislike the motorcycle. I like the motorcycle. I can live with the buzz. And there are some things on here that the previous owner installed, one thing in particular, that goes a long way towards fixing that buzz. Okay, this is the item to which I was referring. It's fairly unobtrusive, and you might be wondering what the heck I'm talking about. I'm talking about this. This, which was installed by the previous owner, and I didn't think much about it when I bought the motorcycle. I didn't realize how good it is a Throttlemeister throttle lock. And it's a wonderful thing to have, especially on a long trip down the interstate or a highway where you don't have any stop-and-go traffic, because you can lock the throttle at a particular RPM and take your hand off the throttle arm. Give your hand a rest. Switch back and forth between the two handlebars. And I can't imagine now taking a long trip without this item. It's wonderful to have, and I'll demonstrate how it works here. So you're cruising along at a particular RPM. You have to quickly remove your hand from the throttle, which I'm not going to do exactly like I would when I'm riding it. So you rev it up a little bit higher than you want. Remove your hand from the throttle and quickly turn, lock it into position. Now, it doesn't lock it so tightly that the throttle can't be moved. If you need to give it a little more throttle, you can. But it locks it in the position you set it at. You need to reduce the throttle, you can do so also. And that's important because if you go up a hill, you're going to have to give it a little more throttle. Go down a hill, you have to reduce the throttle. Works very well though in actual use. You don't want to be using it where you might have to come to a panic stop or anything, or stoplights or heavy traffic. But on a wide open road, it's wonderful, and it goes a long way toward eliminating or reducing the importance of the Connie Buzz coming through the handlebar, because you can take your hand off periodically and give it a rest, stretch it out. Wonderful. And you may notice here too that I put these foam pad grips on, hoping that they would do something to minimize the buzziness coming through the handlebars. They don't really. I like the fatter grip anyway, so I left them on, but they don't really do much to stop the buzz. It still buzzes right through them. They only cost $9 new, so what the heck. Hard to put on though. Had to really stretch them over and soap them up to get them to squeeze over. But not much use for eliminating the buzz. Okay, one other thing I wanted to talk about is the windshield. When I was looking for a motorcycle, I was thinking about the sport touring style, and I like the BMW motorcycles. I thought I wanted a motorcycle with a tall windshield to deflect the blast off of my face. I was concerned about the concourse because I knew that the windshield didn't go up that high. You look over the windshield. and I was thinking about possibly buying the Concourse and then getting a taller replacement windshield, but I discovered soon after having it, the Concourse that is, I don't want a tall windshield. This is perfect as it is, because it does a good job of deflecting the blast over your head. Depending on which helmet I use, it seems to be more important which helmet I wear, you get some buffeting, but that's much less objectionable than having to always look through a slightly scratched plexiglass windshield with bug splatter all over it. I'm 5'7", and when I sit on the motorcycle, I'm looking right over the windshield. It's perfect. This is what I wanted. I didn't know I wanted it when I got the motorcycle, but this is better than a windshield which you have to always look through. And people have complained about this distortion. There's a lip here that causes distortion of your vision as you look through that lip, but it doesn't bother me because I very rarely look at that angle. They say you shouldn't anyways. You should, if you're looking straight down at the front tire, or just a yard or two ahead of the front tire, you're probably not riding your bike properly. I rarely have to look at that angle, and it's really not an issue for me. I like it the way it is. I like looking over the windshield. It deflects the wind over my head well enough that it doesn't bother me. I'm happy with that. Okay, let me just give you a slightly better view of the lip I was talking about. This is the stock windshield. Of course, you can buy aftermarket windshields that don't have this lip, but so far it's not a problem for me. The windshield used to have a thick, semi-transparent rubber, white rubber U-channel all around the edge of the windshield that I removed because dirt and bugs and stuff were getting stuck under there. And it was also a visual distraction, just having that thick channel right under your eyeballs as you were peering over the windshield bothered me. I think the buffeting is a little bit worse now that I've removed it, but it still doesn't bother me, and I prefer to have that U-channel off the bike. And I'll see if I can get a shot through the distortion so maybe you can see what I see. If you're driving along and you need to look down, this is about at my eye level. That's what I see when I'm riding. As you see, I see that the top of the windshield doesn't even show up in the viewfinder. It's just under. But at my eyesight, well, there, I guess I'm not leaning far enough forward. Leaning forward with my hands on the bars like I would when I'm riding. That's about what I'm seeing. That top edge of the windshield is right at the bottom of my peripheral vision. And then if you look down, yes, it's distorted, but so what? I mean, how often do you need to do that? Not often for me, and even if, when I do, I can still see well enough to avoid a pothole or something. You shouldn't be staring that steeply down towards the front of your bike anyways. You should be looking out ahead where you're going. And as I mentioned before, the windshield works fine for me.